Hey guys, how's it going? That 620's done. I'm just waiting for an air filter to show up for it. I decided not to weld nothing on the top of the muffler. It's all cut out and hollowed out. The whole inside of that muffler is hollowed out. I just put the stock part back on with the screen and stuff. It'll all focus coming out of there anyway. Did that 201. It's all done. That guy's picking it up tomorrow. Had another tree service picked up his other 201. I've got one that I'm waiting on parts for another different tree service. But this was one that I did a report on. I built that, I don't know, 3-4 years ago. I know whenever I built this, after going into it, I ran that down at Sawfest because the guy asked me to see what I thought of it after been a bunch of years, and I ran it, and it was strong, but not strong for down there. It was long bar pulling, you know. It was the porting unit was geared towards about 10k peak RPM for max power in the cut. Very similar build to the one that I fell trees with. And for what he was wanting to do with it, I mean, he had it geared up with a bigger sprocket on it and stuff, trying to get a little more chain speed. I actually loaned him this saw, which this is the one I really wished I could have raced with, but oh well. I'd already loaned it out and then loaned out the Stickers 2.0 version 4. The one I raced down there was a lame duck. It only had 110 pounds of compression. It had the compression release was leaking on it. It was like the compression release was stuck in the whole time it was running down there. That's why a lot of times I'll bypass them or brace them shut so they don't. That won't happen. But needless to say, when I ran that, for what he was wanting to do with it, the porting was not the right setup for racing or dual sport, whatever you want to call it. So I took it back home, tore it down, checked the numbers on it, retweaked a few things, and now it's got one of my spicy work saw built in it. So I'll be shipping that out. It's all done. Things that could be done to upgrade it would be an A2D and thin shafts on the carburetor, but I don't know exactly what he's going to be doing with it, so I didn't want to make it too temperamental. Right now it can still be used 8 hours a day in a work environment if need be, but it'll probably want a peak RPM now, probably in the 12k range, 13k, 12.5, somewhere in there. So more better suited for weekend warrior racing it and daily working it. But needless to say, I've got that one. That one's done. I got a bolt the bar and chain on it. Waiting on parts to come in for the 501, and I'm probably waiting on parts for that one as well. This one I get to do really bad things to. Yeah, but I was going over the printouts out here. This is cheap saw. This will show you guys. Cheap saw. I think that was like the clam cell stuff. I didn't have anything in that class. I don't think a single saw got claimed, but I wasn't going to dump a bunch of money, time, effort into a saw and then have it claimed for $200. I don't know. Maybe next year. Maybe I'll pick up something. I heard they're going to be up in the price on that anyway. This is the Clone 372. I don't think I had any saws in there, just a few saws that I did machine work on and they did the port work on. I'm not going to name names if they don't want people knowing I did the machine work or not. I do that sometimes if you're a friend or something. I'll, especially if they want a taper top or whatever. I don't have. Well, I brought back a clone. Smitty gave me a clone 372, but I don't know. I was debating on fixing that up and doing a giveaway on the channel, or I don't know, maybe just I mean, because it would be a cheap hunk of junk, another cheap hunk of junk, then you got your choice of a 660 or a 395 cheap hunk of junk. I don't know if I want a whole bunch of clones sitting around that I only use once or twice a year. I don't know. Here's another one I didn't enter into. In fact, I don't even have a 366 or 361 anymore. I sold. So Nate did really good there. So did Ethan. So did Joe. I don't know. Maybe I'll pick one of them up someday or another. If I did, I'd probably be picking TW's brains. I really like how his ran. I just don't think he had a good run. This is the bounty log. I didn't have anything in that either. I think a lot of sharing was going on. I think the winner, which I think would have been Garrett, got to keep the pot. I think it was 1985 and older was for that, and I didn't have nothing that old. The only thing I could have possibly done was maybe dug out the 710 and got it running, but I didn't have time. 3120. That'd be the cheap saw 3120. I think these were clones. They maybe you could have raced OEM ones. I don't know. It seemed like there was a lot of clones out there. Joe had a good run. So did Ethan. So did Sean Carr. But yeah, I don't know. I've never even worked on one of them. Yeah. Never had one on my bench, so don't know nothing about them. Here's where stuff gets questionable. I had a lot of saws out there, and I don't know if I've got every one of them marked down or not. In the 3 cube, Kenny Freeman took first place in 8514 with this mini monster. This thing doesn't even really got a tank of gas run through it yet. This is Stickers 2.0 version 4. It does have a Shindaiwa crankshaft in it and a Husqvarna piston, but that doesn't change the CCs of the saw at all. It's still the same bore, same stroke. The only difference is I didn't have to bore the wrist pin out like I did on that other one that I just had up here. But what's ironic is in my backyard testing, these two have the same port work. This is piston swapped, where I bored out the wrist pin to make the Husky piston fit with the 11mm wrist pin, and this one's crank swapped. And the crank wasn't any lighter or anything like that. If anything, the connecting rod was a little heavier because it's the same connecting rod. They just didn't bore out as big for the needle bearing. But what's crazy is in my testing in the backyard, these two were neck and neck. I mean, I think they were within 1/10 of each other. And then you'd race them again, and the 1/10 would switch from one saw to the other, which was probably more operator error. So I was expecting this one to be close up into where this one hit. It just didn't happen. I think this one made it in 10th place. We'll find out here in a second. But yeah, Kenny killed it for me with that. That's an absolutely. I mean, look at look at the times. That saw cuts extremely fast. So does that other one. And then hay-chaft and sawdust marked there. That was my 261, my 6-horse 261 that I had loaned out to another racer, and then I had him ship it to Mark. Mark liked the saw. Mark bought the saw off me. I got into a little financial pickle, and it just worked out good for both of us. I think he wanted an auto-tune saw for dyno testing on oils and stuff anyway. He didn't have to buy a ported saw off me. He's more than capable of porting his own. I gave him some info on what I did to how I build my 461s. He took it and ran with it and built a monster. Don't let he says he's a hack. Don't let him fool you. The guy's super awesome. But 10th place is where that other one placed at. I guess I'll have to go back and watch the footage. Maybe he had a little bit of a bad run. I don't know. I placed 17th with a lame duck that had 110 PSI. I think Nate was having a bad day that day because he was running the original stickers, and the saw that I was running, I know for a fact that it wouldn't touch stickers on a bad or on a good day. You know, stickers could be having a bad day, and that saw could have been having a good day, and it would not touch stickers. So I don't know. I don't know what happened there. 'Cause I think before that he's took in first place every race he's raced it at, I think. But and it's done some second place and first place runs in the 4 cube. Now I don't know. I loaned the 550 out to John, and he placed 19th. I don't know what happened there because that 550, I built it at the same time as I built that 261, and in my time testing in the backyard, them two saws are neck and neck. That 550 should have clobbered the crap out of that one that I had. Because I was feeling it out, trying to keep my lame duck as in the RPM the best I could. And I think Tanton ran a 346, one of my, maybe it was my 6.3 horse build. It's a high roof. It winds up high, but it doesn't really have a lot of ass behind it. Never really liked that saw. And I think Steve McDowell was running one of my 4910s. I think it was a 500 with 4910 conversion. I ported it. Another builder assembled the saw, but I did the port work on it. And I believe this gentleman was running one of my saws. And then in the 4 cube, I don't know what Tanton ran. Probably one of his 372s. Don't know what Nate ran there. I don't think he had a 4 cube of mine. I think Mark ran his G366 or whatever. That gentleman had, I think, one of my saws. I think Doug had one of my saws. Had bar and chain issue though. I was running the Shin, and she was just outdone. That was too big a wood for too small a saw with 3/8 on it to try to be competitive. They already ran 4910 in there too. I don't see him over here. He had a really blister. He's gotten 3 4910s off me, and 2 of them are blistering fast. And I don't see him over here. I don't know if he got DQ'd or what. There might have been a few others that had some. I don't know 100%. I didn't quite talk to everybody. I just know I thought I was going to run this. I thought I was going to run this, and then Kenny said at the last minute that he'd run it for me. So I said, sure. Rub marks here, too. That was a brand new handle. Must have been the bumpy 1-ton ride on the way back. When he said he'd run it, I said sure, and then I turned around and looked at my truck and said, oh shit, I done gave out all my fast saws. And I didn't want to renege, so I just ran a clunker. I already paid the raise. Now I don't know. There might be more, there might be less. I think these are all that was used in the disc stack. I think they were all running a 49, one of my 4910s. I believe Nate was running that blistering fast one with a 9-pin on it. I think Mark, I got a question mark here. I think Mark was running the 261. I don't know. If not, he'd probably leave a comment in here. I think Smitty ran a 4910 of mine. I think Doug did. I think Nate ran stickers. I don't know. Don't know 100% for sure. I was down by the truck when this race was going on. I think Joey ran one of mine. And I think the only thing I had in the 660 clone was Tanton's 660. I don't know if that was mine or not. I know he got a 660 off me, but I don't know if that was the one that was raced or not. I'll have to ask him. But I think Mark ran, I think Eric's 660. I don't know what Charles Cox ran either. And then in the 5 cube, might have had more saws in there, I don't know. I know I ran the 400 in the 5 cube and placed 13th. I could have been a little faster to the saw into the wood, but it is what it is. And I think Nate Allray was running my 500i. I wanted the 461 in there, but she sprung an air leak and didn't want to come down off from 4,000 RPM, 5,000 RPM idle. And I was trying to tune it out, get it where we could limp it through there, and it's just that the saw runs so hard it's not worth running it. So she got chucked in the back of the truck, and that's why you bring it back up. I handed him the 500i. I don't know what bar and chain he put on it. And I think that guy had one of my saws. I think Tanton ran a clone 660. I think he might have had the blue one. I built Smitty. And Nate Allray had my 661. The other 661 got DQ'd. And then I ran I'm not sure what Joey ran. He might have had one of my 660s too. I don't know. I made it in 29th place with a 7310, and I had a hiccup getting to the wood. For being that far outclassed in 3 years rusty racing, that's really not too bad for me. I think next year, if I can go, I think I'll keep the fastest saws for myself and then loan out everything else. I want to go through. I'm probably going to split down my my 461. I know there's more power in it, especially after talking with Mark, and that thing's 9.3 horse before it sprung an air leak. cut's blistering fast. I'm going to go back into it, tweak a few things, and I might even try a carburetor swap on that thing. See if I can get her up. I'm still on the fence about going back in. My 500, I didn't build it for... I built it for pulling a long bar and doing get-togethers and stuff, not actual, like, real racing. The roof's a little too high. But, I don't know. Honestly, the only reason I keep the 661s around is so I got a 6-cube racer. I hardly ever, I'll use that 500i with a long bar on it typically before I will the 661. Just because it'll pull a long bar with that 105 roof on it. She'll pull a long bar just about as good, and it's way lighter. So I don't know. Wished I could come into enough money where I could just do up everything I wanted to do and just build me a 3, 4, 5, and 6 cube racer all off this chassis right here. And it'd be badass to have a 92cc 4910 run it in a 6 cube. But I do got a crank that I sent out with a buddy that hopefully we can stroke it. These are 33 millimeter. I'm going to be stroking it to 34 and seeing what happens. I'm going to try to build 55cc get together saw out of one of these sometime this year. And then waiting on parts for that one. Just waiting on parts. Parts. I could probably dive into that other one, but I kind of wanted to. I'm going to be doing crazy machine work and stuff on mine and that one. I'd like to be doing it at the same time. That way I'm not having to set up. If I'm set up to cut that piston or whatever, I just want to do them both at once. I don't want to have to keep changing my tooling out. But Kenny that raced this, he asked me not to touch the thing. He told me to dink with a different one, and probably a good idea. Seems how for cut speed right now, that's probably my fastest one. I'm hoping this one's going to be faster. I haven't even had this one dynoed on the version 4 yet. I really don't care what it, even if it puts out 5 horse, I really don't care. That thing knows when I got my camera on. This thing, if it's only putting out 5 horse, it's putting it out at 16,000 RPM. This saw pulls 14.7, 14.8. Some depends on the size. With a 16 on it, it's 15.2, 15.3 in the cut. And I had a 7 pin on there. I did that because the torque band's not quite as wide on this. I was focusing in on a certain RPM band to try to make a race saw, basically. But, that from the 2 or 3 years that I haven't been at Sawfest, the competition is really, it's tightened down. But saws that used to do really good there now are at the back of the pack. So I'm kind of glad I went on a limb and did this experiment, and it turned out for the good of me. So I don't think I'll be doing anything to this other than probably carb tunes and trying different fuels in it, maybe. Possibly, depending on how it works out on that one, we might be upgrading a few components. In this one, it'll all be bolt-on stuff, depending on but Sure don't feel like she's got a lot, but she spools up. 170, I think, is what this one's at. And I pushed that one a little. This one a little harder. So, yep. This saw I plan on beating the living snot piss out of, just to see how it's going to hold up. But I was expecting this one to be neck and neck. I thought for sure there, but there's a lot of variables going to racing. But I want to see how well the piston swap holds up over time. See if it's any less durable than the factory stuff. I know this one's got quite a bit of time on it, and I tore into it, and she looked great on the inside. The coating on the piston was still all intact. That's another thing too. I'm gonna be looking into to try to do it myself. Skirt coating. I've got some stuff ordered. When it gets here, we'll try it. What's the worst? Worst case is it don't work out for me. I'm out $140. But I've blibber blabbered on here long enough. So there were some of the results. I did start a fire. It is cold, rainy, crummy weather, but race proven. Yet to be proven. I'm probably gonna have to order a handle, and then yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. I got some interesting things going on with that build. I think I'm gonna leave stickers, the original one, alone as well, because it's race proven as well. I'm even gonna leave the handle that he added to it or whatever. All I'm gonna do is probably get it out, make some videos with it for you guys. But night and day difference on the compression on them two saws. This thing thumps over like it's a 100cc saw, and this thing pulls over like it's a 25cc weed eater. But pretty interesting. So I've blibber blabbered on here enough. You guys take it easy and have a good one.